Good afternoon. I am David Silver, a master's level urban and regional studies student. In this pechaKucah, I'm going to take you through my generalized approach to why we must build more resourcefully for ourselves and our neighbors. This is the typical American home today. Over 2,300 square feet with an average of 2.5 occupants. In the 1950s, the average house was less than half that size, with almost 4 people per household. If we look at past population growth, we can see the senior population is slowly being replaced by the baby boomers, which is almost twice as large. They will most certainly require more specialized living quarters as they age. Also, the average household size is shrinking. The decennial census is an important tool in understanding our population. There are currently 131 million homes in the United States. Excluding vacancies, there will be a shortage of homes if building stops. The construction industry will survive due to population growth. This is Ebenezer Howard's 19th century concept for city growth and control. Although no place has fully accomplished this, Howard wished to have modular, diverse jurisdictions with clean air and no poverty. In planning, we call that a utopia. But look again. The design is on par with monocentric cities with subcenters. Regardless of the original design, Detroit, its neighbors, and metropolitan outliers lack cohesive form. In the UK, Howard's designs have resulted in long-lasting, healthy cities. There was growth in population control, even where there was previously none. This is why there is a 10-cent tax on cans. And this is why we build all of our roads with concrete. It's called embodied energy. Embodied energy is the sum of all energy inputs to deliver the final product and the nature of its life cycle. In scale, this is the actual amount of aluminum used in the building industry. And this is the actual amount of concrete used in the construction trade. The continued use of these materials is inevitable and necessary. The way we produce them and reuse them, however, is not. We hear this time and time again. Industry is pollution, and it's admittedly a problem. The cost to curbing CO2 emissions is more than just cleaner smokestacks. It's also a cultural dilemma and quite a large undertaking. There are smaller movements we can focus on. Building consumes 40% of the raw materials globally every year. That's the equivalent of 3 billion tons annually. The EPA also estimates that 136 million tons of those building-related construction materials ends up in U.S. dumps every single year. There are more people than ever and less resources. It's cliche now, but it's important to understand that changes will be made. Annual salaries have declined recently, and it may be time to readjust our lifestyles too. The National Builders Association has noticed this. For the first time in 30 years, demand for smaller homes has surfaced. The content of the home is also changing. However, new homes are built with the intentions of demand only 5 years down the road. Builders need to look further. This formula comes from a study conducted by McDonald and Macmillan from 1990 to 1997. The estimated equation implies that the building permit rate for replacement units is about 0.55% per year on average in urban counties. Building your own house is part of the American dream. However, restoring an old house is more cost-effective. There are tax credits available to offset this cost, and it creates localized jobs that the national builders wouldn't consider doing. Yale University used several techniques to create their school for sculpture. Most of the facade was constructed from reclaimed materials. The interior from recycled. The building uses passive technologies to heat and cool, offsetting its costs. Yes, Changing an incandescent light bulb to a fluorescent helps. Sure, lowering the thermostat 1 degree is great, but how can we all achieve what Yale has done? It takes time. That institution chooses to set an example and can afford to, and soon we can too. The home computer no longer costs $6,000. It hasn't for some time. When we wanted lighter, more fuel-efficient cars, the industry gave them to us. They call it refinement. It brings affordability. If we keep demanding better homes, we'll get them too. Almost 100 years ago, in Western Virginia, a single man had a vision to create a great community on a beautiful piece of land. With a little inspiration from Ebenezer Howard, you have a walkable, desirable city. He created this town inside of an old town. Detroit could benefit from this too. It took a large amount of capital, but because it was well planned, it was successful. Another example is Seaside, a neoclassical community. It was a well-planned investment. It uses less land to house more people and builds off centrally located schools and town centers. Whether we want to or not, we're going to need efficient communities. If we manage our resources and understand that we have to do more with less financially, everyone can continue to have a home. Investing large amounts of initial capital into new cities is critical. Besides, they don't look half bad.